If we don't join forces with those who have been coerced to take these shots and those who resisted it and lost much, especially those in our military ranks, there will be no fellow citizens left that will be able to come to our aid when it eventually falls to us in a more aggressive campaign than what we saw in 2021. But have no fear. Witnesses and whistleblowers from our military are coming forward like never before. You don't want to miss this. This is the Dr. Jane Ruby Show, and you're about to enter Truth in Medicine. Well, they've told you that the military mandates are over, but just like everything else, they've lied. Our military troops have faced everything and more that we faced out here in 2021 and 2022 regarding coercion and fraud around the C19 Bioweapon injections. Many of them have died after getting the shots. Many are permanently disabled. But there is hope because many have refused the shots. Some of those are still inside trying to save others, and some have extricated themselves to carry on the crusade out here. Make no mistake, we have heroes among us, and one such hero is a recently retired Green Beret captain, Captain John Frankman, who recently was featured in the Floridian media outlet in a story entitled "Unvaccinated Green Beret Pressured to Leave the Army." The issue is about the rights of service members and all Americans around the ethics of an experimental toxic injection and the legality of the orders. There are countless stories of service members whose leadership failed them, who went along to get along, forcing their reports to take the shot or leave. In fact, when military members appealed to their leaders asking about the legality of the experimental shots, they were accused of being domestic enemies or extremists. Essentially, the DoD is operating under the protection of a wayward government run by foreign and domestic enemies, in my opinion. I wanted to get another inside look at what's really happening to our military members, and I'm pleased to say that Captain John Frankman, now retired from the U.S. Army, is with me tonight. Captain Frankman, thanks so much for being here with me tonight. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Dr. Ruby. And unfortunately, I did not retire. I separated. A retirement would be great because it would include a lot more benefits, but was not able to get to the 20 years, which was my intention.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear your story on that and so many others. Just so horrific after everything you've sacrificed. I mean, Green Berets are so incredibly trained. We don't even have a clue out here, and we're losing great people in our military. But let's start, with the Floridian, the news article. Tell me the circumstances around separating from the Army and what it had to be a lot to get you to do that.
Yes, so I got to 7th Special Forces Group in 2020, took a team, and was very excited to start my team time. However, 2020 was a crazy year, and with COVID happening, we saw that the people saw that they only had a hammer, and the only solution they saw was the vaccine. So in early 2021, that's when the vaccine pressure or the jab pressure really started to come upon us. And leadership from top to bottom, all they cared about was getting as many individuals vaccinated. And that was especially difficult in a special operations community where we live to deploy. And the pressure that we received was from leadership, but it was also in the schools we could attend, in travels we could do. So the reason I left is I missed out on enough career opportunities to include deployments, to include shortened team time, the opportunity to teach philosophy and ethics, at the U.S. Military Academy. As my religious exemption was pending, I was not allowed to go TDY, PCS to continue that. So
can you define? I know I went through this with
sure.
with Sam Shoemate. We had a good laugh over it, and I said those of us out here are very ignorant to an acronym. So what were those that you were deprived of, as well as all the other things? What did they stand for?
Yeah, so TDY means that you just travel within the country or out of the country, and that's
Okay.
for a short period of time. So before the mandate in August of 2021, different units in First Special Forces Command made it a requirement to deploy TDY to travel outside the country, made it restricted to just vaccinated soldiers.
I
As a
see.
team leader, I told my team that I will neither punish or reward you based on whether you get this shot. We might get some hell from leadership, but that's fine. I'll take it. I personally don't want it. And what's funny is that 10 of 12 of the guys did not get it until the mandate actually came into effect. And that was the Army policy. So if we actually had leaders standing up for the medical rights, informed consent of their service members, I believe we would have a lot less vaccinated when the mandate came out, and we'd probably have a much better standing for this illegal order.
Yeah, Captain, tell me, what was it that clued you in that early, that not to take the shots and to definitely protect your reports from taking the shots, your team?
Sure. So I'm Catholic, and I knew or learned that the COVID shots that were being developed all used aborted fetal cells, either in the testing or the development. And previously, before going on active duty, I studied for 4 years to be a Catholic priest. So I didn't finish my studies, but that gave me enough of a moral theology background to understand and try to wrestle with it. So I thought, well, that's for material cooperation. That would require a grave enough circumstance. And as I started to think about just how deadly the COVID is, which is not deadly at all, especially for us young people having had natural immunity. And furthermore, as I learned more and more about the ethics of these vaccines, it's not just an aborted fetus that was killed back in the 70s. It's the continued theft of that baby's body parts. We have no right to it. When a service member dies overseas, we do everything we can to bring his body back and inter him in the ground, because the body, that represents something sacred. So learning about it being just a mortal sin, grave matter with regards to the theft of the body parts, the murder of the baby, but also another definition of sin that the Catechism gives us is an act against reason. And thou shalt not kill. Well, that also means you don't harm yourself. And these shots, I just knew they were dangerous. It was easy to see that the VAERS, Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, had reported, I think, 3K, 5K by spring of 2021. And that was of concern to myself and my men who were doing our own research and thinking critically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm really impressed. I don't mean to sound like I didn't have that kind of faith in the military or the troops, the members, but they got it early on, and so that's why I was wondering. So what it was. Yeah, so you had the VAERS. I mean,
Sure.
it was enough death and destruction. We didn't have to wait till it was 40,000. Was there any other information? I know what I want to get into is the whole issue about the emergency use authorization.
Right.
And I know that the military members and leaders like yourself were on that really early, like, whoa, wait a minute. I know we're supposed to take orders. And this is the thing I want you to tease out, Captain Frankman, because people say, well, they're in the military. They're supposed to be taking orders. I've also had military members, some really high-ranking, like Green Beret commanders, say to me, I took it because I was always taking orders, but this was early on. And now they're teasing that out. So tell me where, how you sorted that out with regard to your orders. You've gotten so high in the Army by following the procedures and all that.
Sure. Well, I was really hesitant for religious reasons to getting that shot. And then I was concerned about it medically because it was just so new and experimental. I mean, we all know it's just I should stop saying vaccine. It's a genetic.
That would be great.
Modification. Yeah, sorry.
We know it's a bioweapon now. We know that it was developed to hurt humans. So if you're comfortable, or you could say injection, but I like to condition people out of using that term.
Yeah.
And you're great at that. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. So basically, we didn't know about the FDA EUA bait and switch. I reached out to legal assistance, talked to other lawyers I could figure it out with, and just found out the policy is that we couldn't be forced to take these shots. We could neither receive undue command pressure, punishment, reward before it was mandatory. So that was the legal standing that I had. I had no idea that when Pfizer was going to receive FDA approval, that they were going to do the bait and switch between Pfizer and Comirnaty. And my team, we were tracking that. We had one of the echoes one of the 18 echoes communication sergeants went through like so much paperwork on it. And it was just obvious to us. And we had tried to bring that up to the group doctor, group surgeon, and they were just saying, oh, it's medically the same. And it's like, hey, we're looking at the legal distinction here. Where the guys I had, they were worried about getting injured and not being covered because they understood that an emergency use authorization drug is something you choose to take voluntarily. And if you're screwed up from it, then you don't have recourse to the drug companies.
Right, absolutely. God, you guys had a lot of great information early on. And see, that was the teaser, just for the audience, because some parts of the audience might not remember or realize there was this emergency use authorization that was automatically illegal to force, even in the military, people to get it, right? And then they came out and said, oh, no, we approved this one type called Comirnaty or Comirnaty or whatever.
Yeah,
it's a
conformity.
brand name, right? But nobody could find it. But go ahead and take the EUA. I mean, I think it created enough confusion that many in the military, succumbed to the, either the carrot or the stick. You're saying you got, some people got punished, things were deprived, opportunities, but other people got perks for either taking it or forcing it, psychologically forcing it. So what kinds of pressure or punishment would you say, I can't think of a better word, for supporting your troops, for telling them not to take it? Eventually that must have gotten to your leadership, right?
Right. And my team sergeant, he bore a lot more of the brunt of the pressure than I did. I kind of knew the legal standing and felt strong enough about, hey, I'm going to do what God wants me to do. I'm not going to worry about these people. But he was abused by the sergeant major multiple times a week, just for like an hour or 2 hour. We were called the tinfoil hat team, conspiracy theorists. And although we were pretty up on the data, not everybody was. And I was actually a little surprised talking to some other officers about just how little they kind of understood with regards to the shot, with regards to kind of the political situation surrounding it. But the pressure that I received was not nearly as bad as a lot of other people. And I'm actually very grateful for my leadership because it could have been a whole lot worse for me. I think after the fact, they did try to take care of me to the great extent they could, not trying to get Stockholm syndrome and excuse everything, which I try to explain in the article. But I know about, for instance, at the 82nd Airborne, there was a battalion sergeant major who, in front of PT formation, said, hey, if you're vaccinated, go stand over there. You have the day off. Everybody else, get your rucksacks on. We're going to go for a long ruck march, which is carrying 45 pounds, 55 pounds. And this is young privates who don't know any better, don't know about informed consent. At least with the special operations community, we're selected to be more intelligent. We have an IQ test. We have our personalities tested. I'm actually surprised that so many Green Berets got it and so much leadership pushed forward, because we are supposed to be better informed, and we're supposed to understand unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare are activities taken to coerce, disrupt, or overthrow an occupying power or government. And we understand that there's a psychological operations piece to it. So for us to not be looking at and examining that in our own backyard, that kind of amazed me.
Well, one of the things I think is really difficult for any of us, whether we're in the military or out here in the civilian world, is I've seen how difficult it is for people to grasp that this could be coming from or within our own government, that so many pieces of leadership, whether it's in Congress or whatever, went along with this for whatever reasons. Again, the carrot and the stick, you don't know what somebody got to do that. But for the grace of God, those leaders like yourself, and then like you're giving some credit to your leadership that also understood it, was taking the brunt of it for you. There are countless military members' lives that you've all saved just by creating the doubt, providing the cushion to refuse it, on these legal grounds and things like that. So I really want to applaud you on that. One of the things I wanted to ask you was when I was asking about clues or understanding that this was super dangerous, or this is, hey, wait a minute, we got to all step back here and not just jump in line for this shot. Were any of you, or were you in particular, seeing fellow service members, maybe other teams, having strange medical problems like heart attacks? And these are the elite of the elite, right, in physical and mental training.
Right. So there definitely was somewhat of an uptick, and I'm not a statistician,
Yeah,
not
that
a
you
doctor,
could see, though.
not as much research. So some weird anomalies. We had, for instance, 2 people die, not in my group, but in Special Forces regiments. One was training for the Maritime Assessment Course. Another was at Combat Diver Qualification Course. And the deal was, in order for them to attend those schools, they needed to get the jab. So they get the jab. 2 weeks later, they go to the school, and you have to be in. I was on a military free fall team, which was awesome, but with dive, you have to be in such good shape to be able to swim to that extent. So there's no reason that these young men preparing for that should have suffered those heart attacks. And I've had some other guys just kind of come up to me on the side saying, "Hey, I felt a little bit weird. I've been sick." I think all in all, the majority of people still seem pretty healthy, but I think that there's definitely negative side effects, and the games don't weigh out the disadvantages for sure.
So were these diver students, like, did they have the heart attacks and whatever these serious adverse events? Did they have them before they got to the diving school, or when they started to be stressed and, and testing and training?
Right. So they were not at my special forces group, so I don't know those details.
Okay.
I just kind of looked that up, and I know those articles are online too. I think I heard about a couple heart attacks at group, but I don't really know the details well enough to speak about it. I can just say that I've had some folks come up to me and say, "Hey, when my wife got it, she had shingles," and other people saying, "I've never been sick before, and now I'm always sick," or "I've just had this cough that just doesn't go away." So just little things here and there, but nothing that I have scientifically researched enough. Obviously, I think it's harmful.
Yeah, I mean, you remind me of a lot of the testimonies, both on in Congress, and just publicly, by Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Teresa Long, who, as you know, is one of the
Right.
three major DoD whistleblowers with Dr. Pete Chambers, Dr. Sam Sigaloff, and Mark Bashaw, and she testified over and over again, and she's told me personally many times there were hundreds of fighter pilots that she had to ground because of the cardiac issues.
Right.
It's just so awful, Captain.
And we were concerned because we heard about Dr. Teresa Long, we heard about Doc Chambers, and so my team was just kind of, I think, exceptional in that and doing our own research. But we, as a military freefall team, were concerned because if we're going and jumping out of altitudes of up to 14,000 feet without oxygen, higher with oxygen, well, that thin air can have an effect on your heart. So we didn't want to risk it.
Right. And under normal circumstances, you're at the peak of your training and health, and especially age-wise, and because of the elite training, that those things were not probably common, I'm assuming, right? Those kinds of reactions, heart attacks and strokes.
Sure. Yeah. It's just not common. It would just be a very weird thing. And fortunately, nothing like that happened with any of my guys. But yeah, it just anomalies with the dive stuff.
Yeah. Captain, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return with Captain John Frankman, who is a Green Beret, recently separated from the Army, I'm going to ask him a little bit more about what life was like and what it is like right now. I'm sure he still has tons of colleagues and friends that are on the inside, so that the public has a better idea of what our military is going through right now. So I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow, towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept.
I really love the towels. They're really great. They're super absorbent.
I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know we're having the biggest clearance sale ever. Get our 6-piece towel sets for only $29.88 with your promo code. My towel sets are made with proprietary technology and include 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our 6-piece towel sets. Originally $99.98, then on sale for $49.98. Now we're closing them out for only $29.88 while supplies last. Once they're gone, so please order now.
I've been promoting the Triad Air purification products for over 18 months now. First, because they're incredibly effective at cleaning and maintaining the air in your home. But after hearing from thousands of people in my social media that they've experienced relief from the symptoms they previously suffered around people who took the jabs, I had to get the word out. This electrostatic filtration process cleans every area of your home using a pulse negative ionization that actually electrically charges the air molecules, maintaining a cleaner, fresher breathing space. The big home unit protects up to 3,000 square feet, and the individual products keep your car, hotel room, or your personal space protected. Go to airwaterhealing.com today, and if you use the promo code RUBY, you'll not only get 10% off and free shipping, but right now you will get the other 3 products for free. Don't miss this great offer. Go to airwaterhealing.com. Welcome back to the second segment of the Dr.Jane Ruby Show. Tonight I'm speaking with retired, or newly separated rather, Captain John Frankman from the Army, who's got an incredible story about essentially being forced out. Captain Frankman, thanks for staying on. It's great to talk to you tonight. Very enlightening, for sure.
Thanks so much for having me, Dr. Ruby. Very happy to be here.
You bet. One of the things that people are very concerned about, I hear about it all the time in my social media, and I wondered what your thoughts were from a trained military leader about our nation's readiness with all of these injuries, the difficulty recruiting because they're all in there wearing dresses and lipstick. What's your concern as a fellow American for our readiness?
Yeah, I am incredibly worried about the readiness of our military. And I think that also just stems from just the readiness and the individual and culture as well. And if you're not able to have a good populace to recruit from, if men aren't acting like men, if they aren't athletic, responsible, then that creates a recruiting crisis. However, with the more recent policies and it's just been terrible. I mean, we haven't even talked about Afghanistan, but people were just totally heartbroken and upset by it. And I can't believe it doesn't get more coverage. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But just with so many of the different gaps and so much of the woke policy, and it's incredible. I think there was some sign at 7th group, it was diversity is our strength, equal opportunity is our readiness. Like, no, that's not our readiness. Our readiness is the capability to fight. So I understand why a lot of young men would not want to join right now. And until we have leadership where you can kind of trust the direction that they're going to put the force, having a good policy, national defense strategy, things like that, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, and you said something I want to get to really quickly what we were talking about when we went to the break, which was what is it really like inside right now? What are your colleagues telling you and all that? The military readiness, because I want to also get to in a little bit, I like that a lot of you are out here now because, we may need it, but we'll just leave that there. But what is going on? What is it like for those who are still in there and know what the dangers are psychologically, the shot, the wokeness? What is it like for them? Are they enduring?
Sure. So a lot of people are just kind of, and especially special operations community, are a little bit disheartened because they joined to deploy. And now there's just a lot of trips that had been taken away after Afghanistan. And there are guys who do remember that they were forced to take the shot. And there's so many people who say they regret it. They wish they didn't do it. They're absolutely not going to do it the next time. And whenever you make someone to do something against their will, especially when we find out just how farcical this jab is, sorry, I'll try to correct myself as I go, just how farcical, dangerous, and that people are just forgetting it. I mean, we were basically treating people who were not jabbed like Jews in pre-Nazi Germany. And now all of a sudden, oh, everything's fine, move forward. So there's definitely people who are upset with just woke policy. They see General Milley saying, oh, we want to learn about critical race theory and all this other stuff. And yeah, it's definitely heartbreaking for anyone who's paying attention.
Yeah. You mentioned the Afghanistan situation that likely made people on the outside, men on the outside say, whoa, wait a minute. We left people there. We left our equipment, all that expense. It wasn't like a few pieces even. Yeah. The other point you made that I thought was really interesting, a little bit off camera and a little bit on camera, was about unconventional warfare.
Sure.
that instead of ramping the teaching of that up, because this is not going to be bullets and tanks as much as it is. And I think the American public understands. They understand that there's a rogue aspect to our government. I get very hyperbolic on social media and say, you have no government. You have no elections until you get rid of the internet-connected voting machines, the boxes, but you have no government right now. You have an actual DOD leadership, like upper, that's really conducting this campaign, right? So, not only are you not teaching them unconventional warfare, you're weakening. There's like no thought. We're not going to have much left inside. That's my worry. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't know if I've thought to that extent. So it's definitely problematic, a lot of what leadership is doing. And it does seem that the highest level generals are very much bought hook, line, and sinker into wokeness, into whatever Biden's policy is, and that trickles down. The problem I see kind of with the country in general is that we are kind of slowly moving into insanity, but we don't even know it. So it's like there's this war, this campaign going on against us, and we don't really know it. And, a definition of sin is just an act against reason, and you just can't think straight. And I think that we're just in this such a moral problem that, people just aren't able to do the right thing. So I think like middle level leadership, they might not be all behind all the policy, but there's such a kind of ladder climbing sort of thing that might have affected special operations a little bit more, to where they were more ready to get the shot early so they could keep deploying. So I think there just needs to be a return to thinking critically and understanding your core values. So let's say I wasn't Catholic, I didn't have a relationship with Christ. I don't know if I would have held out to the extent I would. Maybe I would have just gotten a fake card. But because I'm not going to lie to other people. I'm not going to commit the sin of scandal by making people think that it's okay to get this jab that is used in aborted fetal cells.
Yeah, and speaking of morals in the leadership, two questions. One, let me give you two first. Is there any hope among the the highest levels of the DOD, that somebody might come out and blow this thing wide open? Or is that level all gone?
So I'll try to limit myself.
From your perspective, right?
Yeah. From my perspective, it's tricky because I was just a captain, 8 years in service, 03. I didn't get to the general level. The highest level rank we have at our group is a colonel. So not knowing the hearts and minds of those individuals, I'm not sure. And you never know who can change, whose heart can be changed. I'm sure there are some people who are more well-intentioned and just kind of went along because they didn't really see. So I'm sure, but it does seem like the people who are being picked are being selected for a reason.
Yeah. So the second question is, we just talked briefly before the interview. I want you to share that story in the next couple of minutes about a general who conducted a town hall. I think it was out in public. Tell us that story. And you were brave enough to ask a question about this. Tell us that story.
Sure. So we had a major general, a 2-star, come to 7th Special Forces Group, and he was having a town hall meeting. So that's just a sounding session, free public forum to ask whatever questions you want. Of course, there's typically hey, no one asks stupid questions, don't get any gotchas, whatever. However, I went there and I was kind of joking with buddies early, like, I wonder if I should ask him something. And he was just going, and there got kind of a lull. And I don't really like lulls in class or wherever. So I just kind of raised my hand and say, hey, sir, Captain John Frankman, AS337. 2 weeks ago, the CDC changed its policy and said that people who are vaccinated and people who are not vaccinated, there's no distinction in how they should be treated. Furthermore, there's about 30 of us here who have not received the COVID shot, and we can't go TDY or travel or PCS or move or deploy. That said, is there any kind of conversation about getting rid of or rescinding this mandate? And when are we going to hear about a religious exemption? And I submitted a religious exemption back October of 21. It's been almost a year. When are we going to hear back?
Man, you peppered him. You peppered him with all the good questions.
Well, I didn't tell him, hey, there's no EUA shot. Like, how's this crap legal? But
Would have been a
I
good
didn't know. I
question,
thought
though.
that would be a little strong.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta baby
So,
steps.
so what was his reaction?
Well, his reaction was, "Have you heard of Novavax?" And I was like, "Yeah, sir. It uses aborted fetal cells." Like, there's this lie and just these like bullet points that people are supposed to just follow, and just these scripts that they think, "Hey, people aren't getting the shot because it uses
Right.
aborted fetal cells." Well, now I'm not getting it because I don't know. There's just everything. Why should I get it? That's
Sure.
the better question.
Sure.
So I just shot out, "Hey, sir, it uses aborted fetal cells." "Yes, I have." And then he was just kind of stumped. He was just like, well, I'm not going to argue with you about that point. Not, "Oh, where'd you get that source?" "Oh, I've heard something different, but I'm not going to argue with you on that point." And then went into, well, if the military tells you to do something, you should really go on ahead and do it. And we don't want to force anybody out. And we're trying to find a middle ground. We were hoping this would be a middle ground. So yeah, it was just, just no critical thought. Very lame.
And that's kind of an area that they used this whole thing of, hey, you signed up for this, you're in the military, you take orders, who are you to defy an order? But there are limits to that. Human ethics.
And
right?
as Green Berets, we're supposed to especially think critically. If we're told to do something, like the question why, that's a big question to ask. The question commander's intent. Hey, is there a better way to get this done? And first and foremost, we take an oath to the Constitution to support and defend the Constitution. And we needed or should have done a whole lot more research to figure out, well, how is this within our legal rights? This was just extremely un-American in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I want to tell you just a quick story, and then I want to ask about the times that we're in and your feelings about it, because I know that your faith informs that. But I was backstage about a year ago, a little more than that, before Dr. Zev Zelenko passed away from cancer. But I was backstage. I had the privilege. I had the privilege of knowing him. We used to speak a few times together at the Reawaken tours. But I was backstage watching him from the side, and I was going to speak right after him, so I was there. And he went out to the audience, Captain, and he said, "This is the greatest time in the world to be alive." And I was back there. I've told this story before, and I thought, Dr. Z, oh my God, what do you mean? This is terrible. It's scary. They're trying to kill us. And then and there was a pause. The audience just listened, and he said, "Because the enemy has revealed himself. And you're about to witness, those of us who are privileged to be here, are about to witness the light overtake the darkness." And I want to add one more thing. When I asked Dr. Teresa Long about a year ago, what is this? It's like lockstep all over the world. And she said, it's Satan. So these two very inspirational people see this as a spiritual war that it is. It's so much bigger than any one government. So how has your faith informed that? What are your thoughts on that as we wind down our time with you tonight?
Sure. Yeah, I totally agree with Dr. Zelenko. I'm very excited that God has privileged me to be united to him in that suffering on the cross. And that's incredible. And I think it's just such a weird time that he knows how small we are, that the incredible things I did is I didn't call a transgender major ma'am. I also didn't get a shot that I knew was going to be dangerous for me. And yeah, I'm just a humble servant trying to do what I'm supposed to do. And this is the time for people to become great saints. And we're not called to success. We're called to fidelity. If we remember how Christianity spread, it was through the blood of the martyrs. So people, Catholics, Protestant Christians, everyone needs to be extremely faithful at this time, and God's going to reap great spiritual fruit for us later. We're not made for the world, but yeah, just a great time to witness. And I feel like God has put me exactly where he wants me to be right now. So thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, just, for a time such as this, right, is the biblical passage. And apparently we're all here to use the skills that, God has developed in us over our lifetimes. But I just wanted people to know that, because that you feel also, just like Dr. Z, that you're grateful to be here. It's an exciting time, and you're gonna be part of it. You're gonna be part of God's army, and that's how I feel as well. So yeah.
And I was actually just on getting out of the military. I did an 8-day silent ignition retreat, and was trying to figure out, okay, praying about God's will, what's going on here. That's like 8 days where you're praying 5 times a day for an hour, talking to a director. And it was just incredible that I tried to get this article published for months, and it was on the feast day of St. Ignatius that it just went out, and then all this started happening. So I'm all about just trying to speak the truth and try to protect the country.
Yeah, you feel him moving in your life, and I agree. I felt that myself. I never would have gotten to have even this little bit of a voice without God's putting everything in place. So before we say goodbye to you, I always want to ask how we can support you, help you in any way. And I'm just wondering, are you looking for, now that you're out of the Army, are you looking for employment? Want to just get the word out if people are.
Well, since I was a kid, my dream profession has always been to be a professional wrestler. So if Vince McMahon, Triple H, or Tony Khan are watching this right now and want to sign me to WWE or AEW, I will be their top talent.
Hey.
But just for the meantime, I'm just knocking out my master's thesis, gonna enjoy this and kind of see where it takes me. So I appreciate the question, and yeah.
Well, that's fun. I mean, who better than a Green Beret with your incredible physical training? I mean, if I ran those competitions, I'd want you there. So hope they're listening. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you.
The operator is ready.
That's right. That's right. Captain John Frankman, thank you for everything you've done for our nation, both inside the military and out. It's really been, kudos to my buddy, Major Dr. Sam Sigaloff, for putting us together. He gets the credit for that, but you'll come back and keep us posted on what's going on after, because you're about to go on a big speaking tour, I feel.
Yeah, I've been hit up a few times, so definitely getting my extroversion out.
Well, how can people reach you if they want to interview you? Let's put it, because my colleagues, a lot of people, are going to be reaching out going, I want to interview him, and we want you to be everywhere with this story.
I guess they can hit me up on, well, I don't like the idea of follow. Don't follow me, follow Jesus first. But if you are going to follow me, I have Twitter, have Instagram, Johnny_Franks, or you can just look me up, John Frankman.
And you got DMs open so they can write to you within Twitter and say, hey, would you like to be on my show?
You know what? I'm so new to Twitter. I had like a barista show me how to do some stuff the other day, but I'll figure it out. So
we'll get you there.
Yeah,
we'll get you there. And you know what? People can write to me. I have a public email. They often do, and say, hey, that was great. I loved meeting Dr. or
that'd Captain. Be great. Yeah.
So Dr.Jane Ruby at Proton Mail, and I will connect you with Captain Frankman. So thanks again for being with us, and God bless you in everything you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ruby. God bless you as well.
You bet. You bet. Well, that's it for this edition of the Dr. Jane Ruby Show. I hope you got a lot out of it. Please remember to follow me on Rumble at rumble.com/Dr. Jane Ruby. Twitter, same thing, real Dr. Jane, Dr. Jane Ruby. And don't forget to, if you want to support me in this false, vexatious lawsuit perpetrated upon me for $25 million by the self-proclaimed inventor of mRNA technology, Robert Malone, please go to givesendgo.com/protect Dr. Jane. That's protect Dr. Jane. God bless you all. Thanks for being with me tonight.